Well, it's time for another Rogers Capital commentary where we attempt to be the antidote to water cooler wisdom. Now, last time we ended our video with one word. You remember what it was? One word. I said that if I could summarize my expectations for 2022 in one word, that it would be volatility. Wow. So, how's that for predictions? I'm kind of sitting here wishing I had some lottery numbers for you all. Stocks have staged an impressive reversal. We went from 4,796 on the S&P to 4,326 on the S&P, a 9.8% drop. But was that the bottom? We've rallied a little bit since, but that's the question. On the positive side, we've had a jobs report that came in incredibly strong with more jobs and increase in the participation rate, actually. We now stand at 62.2% in the workforce participation rate. All signs of a healthy labor market. Despite Omicron-related concerns, this was an incredibly strong jobs report and likely keeps the Fed on track to begin increasing short-term rates next month. Speaking of COVID, the 7-day rolling daily average of new cases in the U.S. has declined 83% since January 13th, almost a month ago. Now, the reopen, you heard me say probably 50 times last year, the reopen, one of our big drivers for how strong last year was. But getting COVID behind us and going back to work and back to normal and opening things up. So this decline, obviously, probably being an important step toward easing labor supply shortages and supply chain disruptions, should help reduce some of these inflationary pressures that we're dealing with. Now, on the negative side, speaking of inflation, the CPI has come in hotter than expected, 7.5% year over year, where you got to go back to Jimmy Carter to see a comparison there. But it was likely comments from Fed officials in the last few months, last month, that really kind of upset the apple cart. St. Louis Fed President James Bullard told Bloomberg that he supported a 50 basis point or half a percentage point hike in March, and then another 100 basis points of hikes by July. Now, that's just one opinion. He is not the Fed, but it will be interesting to see what some of the other voices in the room contribute. What is really interesting to see, though, and of course, we've been talking about inflation for months now and the Fed's reaction to it, but it's really interesting to see how in just 3 months we've gone from, well, we'll probably have 2 rate hikes in 2022 to, well, we're definitely going to have 5 rate hikes and may have 6 rate hikes. You can see where some of the uncertainty and volatilities come from. Now, we still see a first quarter peak in inflation, but the Fed's action has seemingly sped up due to tighter labor market, elevated CPI increases, and as such, we're likely to see interest rate liftoff this coming month in March. But a reminder for us, volatility and what's normal volatility. 4, 1, and 1 and 4, right? 4 times a year we're supposed to see a 5% drop in the S&P and markets. Once a year we're supposed to see a 10% drop. And then, of course, one every 4 to maybe 5 years, we have a 20% drop or a bear market. And as crazy as this recent 9.8% drop was last month, it still wasn't 10%. We're supposed to have one of those each year. So perspective is important, right? What's normal? What is the volatility that we should be expecting? Okay. Now, as usual, if anything in this video you want to discuss a little bit more, or you want to maybe spend a little time and make sure your stuff's situated exactly the way you want it, don't ever hesitate to call. And we'll talk to you next time.